So I think about recipes like family heirlooms, right? Whether it's, grandma's jewels or grandma's lentil recipe. They're things that really deserve to be in your family and shared with your family for years and years and years. And I think that the idea of having tradition is one of the many pieces that pulls the fabric of a family together. And dinner table and food is undeniably one of the most important parts of that fabric, regardless of where you're from. Growing up in a very traditional, frugal Eastern European family here in America, it was all about how do I stretch my dollar? How do I get what I have to feed as many people as possible? And a big part of that is just saving and reusing everything that you have in the kitchen. Bread heels are breadcrumbs, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the staples that I learned how to cook very early, and Americans do not know how to cook, are dried beans. It's one of those things that I think has gotten forgotten in America, to take legumes seriously and understanding the difference, all due respect to canned beans, to beans that you make at home. And that's this salad, this lentil and dairy and vinaigrette and egg-based salad is really about the lentils, and everything else is sort of complementing in its own way, right? The Smith dairy whole cream is adding some richness to it. Our house-made vinegar is gonna bring the acidity. You get saltiness from the bacon, and then all the umami is gonna come from the egg. I've actually had my recipe for beans rejected multiple times, including Food and Wine magazine. And they looked at it and it was like, it's 13 steps to get to the perfect bean. And they were like, no, we want 2 steps so that way home cooks can do it. And I was like, no, you don't understand, this came from my home. My grandma taught me this recipe, and they're like, we don't care. So it's a recipe that's in the book, and it's on my dinner table. But the idea of taking what you know and what you grew up with and interpreting it in a modern sense is really a skill set that we're proud of. Taking tradition, whether it's lentils or chicken or, making your own ricotta cheese from great dairy, those things come into play on the menu when we just sort of think about each menu change. Because the idea for me really about every recipe is how did it get to where it is? Whether it's my family or a proverbial family that I'm learning from, I want to understand how did you learn how to make these lentils? How did you learn how to make this, a cheesecake recipe? Where did the quenelle recipe come from? And then that's the, classic part. That's the romantic part. The modern part is, okay, is there some of this recipe that doesn't make sense right now? Is there an ingredient I can't get? Is there a way for me to update this recipe and get it into the restaurant or get it in a home kitchen that makes more sense? We know that those of us that grow, food and that gather food from around us, our job is easier as a cook and a chef if we use food that's local. And every dollar that we spend local is much better for our local economy than every dollar we spend nationally. We're not gonna be able to grow lemons here, but we can buy the lettuce here. We can get the milk here, we know that. We can get, you can source the majority, of your home or restaurant pantry from around you. And you feel good about it because those dollars are staying in your backyard.